Hey, what's up, guys? We're here. So over the years, we have covered many examples of people suffering from ADS, better known as Asmongold derangement syndrome. But what we're looking at today involves something much greater. It is a guilt by association situation because he co-founded the agency Mythic Talent, and now there is a witch hunt to harass content creators associated with this agency. And now we're seeing some content creators, whether silently removing themselves from any connection to the agency, or outright saying they're leaving or have left, or even going as far as to imply there's something really wrong going on behind the scenes. Nevertheless, the timing of these statements seems very odd considering there's been some public pressure applied by Caseytron, among others, to go out and, well, shame members of Mythic Talent for simply being a part of a company that is co-founded by Asmongold. This is something I talked about a few days ago, and since then, a lot of the people from the agency have been harassed, and a lot of things have happened, and today is simply an update regarding all of that, and some, well, I guess I can say some serious but very vague statements being made by a now former Mythic Talent creator. This all goes back to Caseytron, infamous crybolly. She created a tweet recently saying, here's a list of all the brands and creators that are partnered with Asmongold's talent agency Mythic Talent. Why they want to be represented by someone who cheers for death every day is beyond me. Should probably start asking them. And then she lists a direct link to their talent pool, so you can find out exactly who's listed there. And of course, those talents were harassed. And in her replies and in the replies of others to this tweets, they were basically saying, unless you come out and leave the agency or speak out against Asmongold, you share his supposed alt-right extremist views, and you deserve shaming and harassment and what have you. Now, she would expand on this even further in a recent stream and go after even more people. Let's listen to this clip.
But no, like what I find like the most disturbing now is like these people who are still affiliated with him. You know, it's like, why are there people still on his talent agency? Why is his talent agency have all these sponsors when every other day he's advocating for people to be murdered in the streets? Like every day he's literally advocating for some other minority group to be killed by the police. You know, him and XQC are laughing about Renee Good being fucking shot. They're like laughing and hee-hawing about it. It's like, why does Asmongold have a talent agency that has so many fucking people on it? And why is it sponsored by so many? Like, that's like the point that I'm at now. Like, who are the people that we're seeing pictured with Asmongold within the last 6 months? Have they answered for it?
Now, of course, Caseytron is trying to virtue signal about the Renee Good situation to this day, which a lot of people like Asmongold, for example, when they spoke on that, their message was pretty simple. I mean, I'm paraphrasing here, but it was pretty much, it's a bad idea to interfere with a law enforcement investigation. It's an even worse idea to back up your car and drive into the direction of a federal agent who's asking you to remain where you are. Pretty bad idea. But of course, you look at the accounts that are posting clips like this, and it's framed in a way that's obviously trying to make people like Asmongold look bad, and you see, oh, they have a quote of Hassan talking about them. That was such a pivotal moment in their life. It's the first thing they want you to know about them. The time where Hassan referenced them. Amazing stuff. But look at some of the replies, people saying no one gives a crap about this stoner, where they say that's not the information I'm receiving, with a screenshot of the number of likes their tweet sharing the clip got. So apparently if you get more likes, that means your opinion is more valid, or what you're sharing is more valid. Interesting. But the comments, of course, are just adding on more fuel to the fire, saying she's right, and of course the whole internet is going to get mad and come at her. She's speaking what everyone else is thinking, but is too scared to speak up about. Boycott Mythic Talent. I will not support anyone involved with Mythic. We need to stop supporting streamers under Mythic Talent, because how can you still associate with an agency owned by a Nazi? It's because they don't actually care about protecting minorities. You cannot support an egomaniac, bigoted man while also shouting trans rights. That's not how this works. So you see the response there. Now, like I said, a lot of people have removed or somehow put space between themselves and Mythic. But the issue with a lot of VTubers right now, or content creators working with Mythic, is how do you know when they actually left or removed, for example, Mythic talent from their bio, right? Some people have been pointed out as doing so, but it's unclear when they did this. Did this happen before Casey Tron's virtue signaling post? We're not really sure, so I'm not going to point out to any of those kind of lesser examples, but here's a direct one, okay? Vienna. She came out with a tweet saying a couple people asked, I am no longer with Mythic Talent. I loved my time there and being a part of some really cool projects. I appreciate everyone I worked with throughout and their patience with me. Thanks so much to Mythic. So there wasn't a lot of backlash on this, but the timing did raise some questions. People like, are they saying this now just because of what's been going on with Caseytron and everyone jumping in on that brigade to go after Mythic talent creators, whether past, former, or present? Who really knows? But one person made a much more direct statement, a VTuber by the name of Grimmy, who at one point, less than basically exactly a year ago, you can see right on March 5th of 2025, so almost a year to the day, joined Mythic Talent. But they have since left. And there is a clip circulating from one of their recent streams where they make some very vague but very serious statements about Mythic Talent and what's going on behind the scenes.
As for the stuff with Mythic, I can't talk about it. And I'm specifically not gonna say anything about it. That's pretty much it. I wasn't hype about it. I'm not gonna tell anyone about it. It was a little silly. On your About page, Twitch? Okay, I'll change that right now. Thank you for letting me know. This isn't like a thing where it's just like, oh, Grimmy got upset. This was quite substantial. But on the other hand, I don't really want to like cause any problems for anyone there. I don't know how on earth. I don't know. Pretty much all I'll say is that was there was something very, very crazy. I think people would be pretty upset about it if they do, and that's pretty much all I can say. I think everyone would be pissed, but I am not going to talk about it.
Now, before we get into what she just said, just look at the source sharing this, by the way. Totally not biased in any sort of a way. There's definitely not an angle here saying, so Grimmy implied Mythic is just another black company, but will drama tubers talk about this when all the biggest ones work for them? Well, I guess False already graduated, but Rima is still there. And they bring up Niji Sanji and also the concept of a black company. Niji Sanji in the replies, of course, is what they mentioned, but this concept of a black company means a company that is shady, that is taking advantage of its partners and its workers in order to make the maximum profit. They don't care about the safety and well-being of their employees. Many people consider Niji Sanji an example of a black company, given the whole Slantatsuki situation where one of their members was, by her own allegations, was bullied internally by the company and some of its members to the point of attempting her own life twice. So we see this label right here, black company, which is not what she said. But of course, then there's this angle about drama tubers and mentioning False ID, who recently is moved on from this account and is now going somewhere else. I'm not sure where, but it sounds like a good opportunity for him, wherever it is. And then they bring up Rima. Seems like this person has an issue with Rima Evenstar. So I see a lot of, angles being presented here by the source of this. I mean, it just doesn't really seem to add up a whole lot here. But anyways, let's talk about what she actually said. So she says many things that conflict with one another. She says she's not going to talk about it, and then immediately talks about it. She says the whole thing was just silly. And then she says what happened was actually quite substantial. Then she says she doesn't want to cause problems. And then she continues on by saying Something so crazy happened, very crazy, that if people knew about it, they would be pissed. So clearly, on the one hand, she's trying to downplay this as like, oh, I don't want to get into it, this is just silly. But every time she says one of those things, it's countered by, well, this is actually quite substantial. And what happened to me is very crazy, or something that happened in the agency is very crazy. We don't know if it's just personal with her or the agency as a whole, but something very crazy happened and people would be very upset if they knew about it. And she makes it very clear. It's like it's a done deal. If people found out about this, everyone would be on her side most likely. Well, that's some pretty serious stuff to say, especially while vague posting. I've talked about vague posting a lot recently, and for some reason it's VTubers who do it the most. I don't know why, but they love to vague post. And this is a very serious vague post, and given the timing, just a few days after the Caseytron situation, people are asking, is there any sort of connection? And when you start vague posting while making some pretty serious vague claims about the agency, people want to start filling in the gaps. Like, what's the motivation? What actually happened? And that's what we're seeing here. So if this person didn't want to talk about it and thought this was all silly, they wouldn't be adding in all this other stuff that's causing a lot of speculation, all of which seems very negative on Mythic Talents. But she had more to say. She is taking a sort of preemptive step to protect herself about a potential legal situation.
And if I hear any rumors spreading about why I left, where they're trying to frame me negatively, I will talk about it. And I will tell everyone exactly what it was. I was really, really, really upset. And I think everyone would have been, like, universally there. So, alright. Not on a personal level for them. Not just me, on a personal level individually. But anyways, we're moving on. I would have been upset too if you knew. If you knew. But Grim, you got receipts? I do actually. I have proof of something. But I'm gonna see if I can't. Well, I'm 50-50 on whether or not it's gonna become a legal matter or not. So that's pretty much it. I didn't want to dig into that part, whatever happened. It's okay. I'm so sorry for being a little pissy about it. That's all I can say. Oh, man. Some people... Sorry, I'm thinking about it and getting pissed. Alright. Alright, we're chill. We're chill. It's all good. It's all good, baby. It's all good.
So you can see she's taking these like preemptive steps to protect herself, saying she will spill the beans on what's going on, this very crazy thing that happened, if Mythic talks about her in some sort of a negative way, if they frame her in a negative way. It seems like it's a preemptive statement, like she's trying to get ahead of something, like she believes they're going to come out and possibly try to throw her under the bus or put her in a negative light. So she's already addressing that before it even happens. So again, from a silly thing she doesn't want to talk about, this is getting pretty serious. Some pretty serious things are being left out there. And when asked if she has receipts, she says she has proof of something. What that something is of course vague. People are going to try to guess as to what that is, and what will we know? We don't know yet. And she also says she's 50-50 on a legal matter. Again, is this just silly, or is this something that you might be getting the courts involved with? And she repeats over and over again throughout the entire thing. And the last minute that I didn't play for you from this clip, she says over and over again, we're moving on, it's over, we're good, everything's fine. But yeah, I mean, this is a pretty big bombshell about Mythic Talent, and it's just kind of left out there as a vague post. And the proof will only be provided, from my understanding, if Mythic comes out and says something that frames her in a negative light. And again, given the timing of all this, people are like, well, does this have something to do with the Caseytron post and the pressure being put on anyone who's associated with Asmongold right now? We don't know, because everything's so vague right now. But of course, there was confusion. There's confusion as to what even Mythic Talent is. And in my last video, and other times I've mentioned Mythic Talent, I've explained this, but you can see there's confusion. Someone in the reply says, how can Mythic be a black company when they aren't even a real agency. They're more like talent management rental service, are they not? VTubers don't work for Mythic like normal agencies do, rather with them, no? And the original poster says, they've said the same things about VShojo, where the previous poster says, no, because VShojo was 100% a VTuber agency. Talents are signed under them, not the same. Now, one of the current talents working for Mythic Talent, Cha-Cha, would weigh in on this, and I can't believe I've talked about this woman like 3 times in the last month. She's either on the receiving end of absolutely lunatic complaints about her, or she's giving good takes on some complicated situations, and that's what she did today. And of course, I highlighted this in the last video about this situation. She was included in this post saying, is this really what Twitch is now? I'll assume they're all Hitler Youth racists under there now. This was a response to Casey Tron's call-out post, and of course, Cha-Cha was one of the VTubers featured in this outrageous claim right here. She says this, quoting the clip we saw, Mythic isn't a VTuber agency. They are a company that provides sponsorships to their talent roster. They also provide legal support if someone else tries to infringe on your IP. Mythic has helped me twice in that regard for making sure my IP was protected. I have nothing but good things to say about Mythic, honestly. And then she clarifies again to make this abundantly clear in the reply saying how it works. Become a Mythic talent. Get on a roster of other streamers. Gaming companies pick streamers on that roster and offer money to play a game/activity on stream. Mythic asks the talent if they want the sponsor, plan stream day, and fulfill sponsor requirement. Mythic gets a cut, and the streamer gets a bigger cut. Profit. It's that simple. It's not like Niji Sanji. It's not a traditional VTuber agency or content creator organization. They are much more of a middleman getting sponsorships for these talents listed under Mythic, and they get a cut of that for their services. It's very straightforward, okay? They're not some coherent unit all following under some umbrella where they have to have some standard or they're all on the same page as one another. They're there to work out opportunities for themselves through this service, which is Mythic Talent. Now, people would say, this feels weirdly defensive, especially when you don't know what her problem is with them. It's not strange for someone to have a negative experience with a company. Maybe it's nothing, or maybe she's right, and it's pretty bad. I don't see a reason to get so defensive for them, where she says explaining what the company does and how it benefits me is a testimony, not a defense, which I think is necessary context. People don't even know what Mythic Talent is, and yet they're making assumptions to the point of wanting people to be canceled and publicly shamed for being a part of the organization due to the fact that the co-founder is Asmongold. And I don't think this is a defensive post. It is one informing people of the baseline of what this entire situation is about. And of course, some people might get defensive when a former partner of the company is making some very, very bold but vague statements. And some people who have good experiences currently with the agency might want to clarify some things so there's not confusion. But another person says, Cha-Cha, I understand that you want to defend Mythic, but at the same time, defending them only draws attention to speculation. There are parallels with VShojo. Again, this comparison makes no sense. And also, if you're worried about drawing attention to speculation, that is the clip we are responding to. And Cha-Cha says sponsorship companies aren't the same as VTuber agencies. And they would make it clear again. Someone said, huh? I thought you wouldn't need one, Cha-Cha. Wouldn't need sponsorships. Every streamer needs sponsorships. Yeah, are you kidding me? Everyone wants a sponsorship. They're very important. They're a great enhancement. For some people, that's like their livelihood, right? It depends on sponsorships. Luckily, I don't. It's more of a perk for someone like me. YouTube's my main platform, and that's how we do things around here. And I appreciate the support on everything. And also recently streaming on YouTube. Have you checked out my live tab? We streamed twice this week. Very fun. The support is crazy, which is a type of thing that makes sponsorships a little less important to people like me. But for a lot of other content creators, They need it, and they need it all the time. And if you're a big enough content creator or appealing enough to Mythic talent, I think that's a great route for you to go if you need more sponsorships, you know? But anyways, this post has caused a lot of speculation about Mythic talent and has added a lot of fuel to the fire and a lot of speculation because it's vague and its timing is a bit interesting given everything going on with Mythic and the focus on it right now, the negative focus on it and all the talents and their association with Asmongold. But for now, that's going to do for this video. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.